Now it's my privilege and honor to pass the word to Prosecutor of the International Criminal Court, Karim A, who is working together with his team, shoulder to shoulder, in Kyiv, in other cities of Ukraine, in The Hague, in order to make Russia accountable, including highest political and military leadership for war crimes, crimes against humanity, and crime of genocide. Please, Karim.
Thank you, Andre, for that. Mr. President, Attorney Generals, Foreign Minister, Kaliba, friends, it's really an astonishing occasion. This is really a remarkable day. That, as we all see on our television screens, and those that have been in Ukraine can testify, as heavy artillery continue their cruel debate, as bombs wreak havoc, bullets extinguish lives, we are here in Lviv to discuss something that must unify us. And of course, the prosecutor of the ICC does not, whatever affection and regard I may have for my dear friends in Ukraine, has no special affinity to any particular country. We're not a party to any hostilities. We have affinity to legality. We have affinity and a commitment to the rule of law, and a steady realization that we are, by any measure, at a very precarious moment. And therefore, I think it would be very churlish to deny the fact that this event is not hosted by Ukraine to get weapons. It is not hosted by Ukraine to gain financial assistance. It is hosted by Ukraine to plant ever more firmly the flag of justice on the fertile soil of this land. And the First Lady stated just a few weeks ago to an event in New York that human rights, like the air, do not have borders. And this flag of justice is not owned by any state. It must be seen to be what it is, which is the lost property of humanity. It must find root. It must find form in every system, every legal system, every tradition, every political philosophy, religious creed, because it is the gel that binds us together as a civilization. So this event, United for Justice, really says it all. And I've had the bitter privilege over the last year of getting to know ever better this country. I've been with the Prosecutor General and his brave men and women to Bucha, to Borodianka, to Kherson, to Kharkiv. The men and women of my office have been to so many locations, and I recall what I said outside St. Andrew's Church in April, that unfortunately Ukraine is a crime scene. And we are seeing so many reports of so many types of violation: prisoners of war tortured, sexual and gender-based crime allegations of targeting that we've seen, destruction of maternity wards in Mariupol or theatres, power grids. And just yesterday, I was very close to the front line in the east, and I went to an orphanage, a care home. And of course, one reads accounts and one hears testimony and one looks at the evidence. But in the silence of that moment, with empty cribs to my right and to my left, with little shoes belonging to children on shelves and clothes donated by people who wanted these children to have a better future, I was struck by the paintings on the wall that we would find in any school, in any country of the world, or in the bedrooms of our own young children. Photographs of Christmas past, nativity scenes where children were dressing up and trying to look forward to that celebration. And instead of that joyful presence, there is silence because of the allegations that we've received that children have been deported outside Ukraine into the territory of the Russian Federation. Now, our yardstick is evidence. It is to look at and investigate affirmatively incriminating and exculpatory evidence equally. But we have this commitment, that we have the stamina and the determination to make sure that the truth is properly presented. And I heard, in fact, only when I was here in Ukraine, a wonderful saying. I did try to pronounce it, but I don't want to completely garble it. But it's a wonderful Ukrainian saying. And I think it should be a saying for humanity, that the truth doesn't drown in water, and it does not burn in fire. As the rising tide of criminal allegations come to the office that I lead and to the Joint Investigative Team, to national authorities, as fires are visible in so many parts of Ukraine, we have to make sure that we stand together, united by this concept of justice. And it's really important at this moment, I think, when we are on the precipice, that the law needs to be seen, to be potent, to have impact, to not simply raise pious, very important, laudable normative values, but it must be seen as one of the anchors for stability and security. And as the President said, and as the Deputy Prime Minister of the Netherlands also recalled, that as we walk the streets here in Lviv, we should hear the whispers of the past, because it is a curious part of history that two giants of international criminal law, Raphael Lemkin and Hersch Lauterpacht, walked these streets, attended this university in this city that we speak about justice today. And Hersch Lauterpacht was also one of the drafters of the speeches, the opening speeches of the great British prosecutor at Nuremberg, Sir Hartley Shawcross. And it's important to recall what Sir Hartley stated in Nuremberg. And I quote, that in no other sphere is it more necessary to affirm the rights and duties of men, and that unless they bind individuals, they bind no one. That wasn't simply the prosecutor's eloquent words. Those words were embraced by the judges of the major powers in Nuremberg, and every undergraduate, every student of this area of law knows very well the Nuremberg judgment, which states that the crimes against international law are committed by men, not abstract entities, and only by punishing individuals who commit such crimes can the provisions of international law be enforced. So words are eloquent, but what's the action? I think there is cause for hope that in the last 1 year, from a standing start, we're in a position where 1/3 of all state parties referred the matter of Ukraine to the International Criminal Court. Unheard of dispatch, unheard of unity. In the last period, I'm really grateful to the leadership of the Kingdom of the Netherlands and the personal leadership of the Foreign Minister of the Netherlands. The rotational forensic model of the Royal Netherlands Marechaussee has been adopted, working very closely with the Office of the Prosecutor General under the flag of the International Criminal Court to make sure that we get the best evidence as quickly as possible, realizing that all evidence must be subjected to independent scrutiny. We've worked in novel ways with Eurojust, my dear friend Ladislav Hamran, with the Genocide Network, and realized that civil society organizations very often are first responders. They're in very difficult and very dangerous places in Ukraine as we speak, and that we have produced together guidelines for civil society organizations to make sure we collect and they can collect evidence, realizing that it can have the maximum utility for the judges that will look at cases in due course. And not only the joint investigative team, but I think the cooperation of the Prosecutor General is really fabulous. And I do want publicly, Andrei, if I may, to thank you, your team, for the excellent cooperation you've extended to me, but also the members of my team that have been here. And we've been here continuously with a continuous field presence since May. 2 more steps, of course, have been made today. I don't need to belabor them. It was really a wonderful initiative, and I'm very grateful to the Foreign Minister, to the Prosecutor General, and to many others that today in Cabinet the authorisation has been given by Ukraine to the International Criminal Court to establish a field office. And I also want to thank publicly Deputy Minister Mudra, Prime Minister Smigel, and also, once again, Foreign Minister for your help and your support. And the Dialogue Advisory Group that's being launched right now really has been very carefully considered. And again, I'm very grateful to the Foreign Minister of the Netherlands, to Didier Reynders, for the wonderful support that you've given this initiative, and to my office. Really, in very effective, in very prompt times, you've actually come up and stood in line of those that are supporting justice. And this was discussed in July last year, when the European Commission, the Dutch Foreign Minister, and my office co-hosted an event in The Hague, that we have to learn the lessons of the past. We can't over-document. We need to make sure that evidence is collected in a way that we are aware of what other independent mandate holders are doing. So I think a lot of momentum, a lot of hope, and it's good to be here in this special place in what is going to be and what is already a momentous year. It's the 75th anniversary of the establishment of a Charter for Mankind, Eleanor Roosevelt called it, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. 77 years ago, on the 8th of August, 1945, the London Agreement formed the legal basis for what was to become the Nuremberg trials. And here, on the 3rd of the 3rd, 23, in the 25th anniversary of the signing of the Rome Statute, we have an opportunity to stand firm together to deliver a promise that the ICC, as a child of Nuremberg, can finally stand up and play its part to ensure more effective justice for the people of today, and even more importantly, the children of tomorrow. Thank you so much.